Good morning. You're listening to WXOX 97.1 FM in Louisville, Kentucky, or perhaps you're listening on our sister station, WXND 100.9 on the radio dial. This is Artist Talk with LVA, and the show produced by Louisville Visual Art. My name is Keith Waits, and we're here to talk to Sheila Fox, first time on the show. Sheila Fox, also known under the name Godiva Goddess, is a self-taught mixed media artist based in Louisville, Kentucky. Fox has been making art for 20 years. Her vibrant portraits of Black women take inspiration from Fox's own lived experience as an African American woman, as she seeks to celebrate her story and the stories of generations of Black women through the joy of artistic expression. Her work is on display right now at Revelry Gallery. The show is called A Journey of Elegance. It is now open, but there will be a reception Friday, February 11th from 6 to 9 p.m. The show will be on display all through February until March the 6th. Sheila Fox, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
So, and we'll just say, so you were supposed to have your opening reception, your big party on February the 3rd, and ice storm came and snow, and fortunately,
Yeah.
it wasn't quite as bad. I was looking for the trees to be all encased in ice, which is really beautiful, but so
Oh,
dangerous. Didn't
yeah.
quite go there. But anyway, so your party's going to be February 11th.
Yes.
Uh, so Revelry, the show at Revelry Gallery, the work that's on the walls there now. Um, what should people expect to find? Talk about the work that's on the walls.
Well, the work that's on the walls right now is as soon as you walk through, and the name of the show speaks for itself.
Mhm.
Elegance, Journey of Elegance, and that's exactly what it is. Because the type of art that I do, I am into fashion, I am into makeup, I am into hair, I am into all of that. And being a Black woman, a dark-skinned Black woman, all of that shows through my artwork. So when you walk in, you will see that elegance, you will see that glam, you will see the diamonds, you will see the no, I was about to say furs, but not furs, but you will see the feathers, you would see rose petals, you would see vines, you would see flowers, you would see everything that represent femininity, woman, dark skin, Black woman. Not only just dark skin, but that's more of where my art goes because that's who I am. And I am walking that journey of who I am through my artwork. Yeah.
Well, identity is the great theme of all
Yes.
art and creativity. And it's become so much more important, I think, in recent years. I can remember a time when uh, there used to be this desire on the part of artists of color to say, I don't want to be thought of as an important Black artist. I want to be thought of as an important artist. But
Mhm.
now I feel like, and I understand that, but I feel like we're at a time when people's history, their very personal histories, and
Absolutely.
who they are, their culture, or their identity has become very, very important to their artistic expression.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I will be. I don't want to put my age out there, but I am. My birthday is on the 24th of this month. I will be 43 years old.
Wow.
So out of the 43 years of my life, every dark-skinned woman, included in my family, friends, co-workers that I came across, we all have dealt with the exact same thing due to our complexion. You'll be so much better if you wasn't a dark skinned woman, or it's just so much comes along with that. And what I want to do is put it into my art. So yeah, I wear that stamp. I wear that stamp proudly that I am a dark skinned artist. And that's who I am. And it will show through my art. And if people appreciate me and appreciate my art, I don't have a problem with it at all.
Now, when I look at the images of the paintings, and I apologize, I haven't been to Revelry yet, because of
Okay.
the snow, but I'm going to get there. And but what I see are a lot of the compositions are all of the images of women. Let's clarify that
Yes,
they are.
yes.
The sort of size of the paintings, it reminds me of a series of paintings by, I'm gonna hope I get this name right, Robert Shirley, called Americans Who Lead. And he very specifically did all of the images of people in a way that they were almost life size, so that when the paintings are in the room, it's almost like the people are in the room.
Absolutely.
And they're this sort of head and shoulders thing, so you're just sort of walking around at eye level.
Oh,
And looking at the way your paintings seem to be hung, it seems like that's happening there too. How
yeah.
conscious of you in that are you of that composition and that relationship to the viewer?
I actually, a lot of people ask me that all the time, why do I do my pieces on, most of the time I do 36 by 24 canvases.
Mhm.
And that's what I want it to be. I want it to be larger than life. I want you to walk into the room. You are, like you just said, you right at the eye level, like we're eye to eye. I'm looking at my reflection, especially Black women. When you see that beauty, you see that femininity, you see that softness, you see that elegance. And I want them to be able to look at that painting straight on, eye to eye. Hey, this is me. I reflect with this. Yeah.
Are they real people, or are they
Some of them.
production?
One of them is, I think, the model of Naomi Campbell, and I think probably about maybe five of them are images I came up with on my own, and maybe three or four of them are of Black models that I follow on Instagram. Yeah.
I'm reminded of Anster Anderson did these paper collages of older women, the last body of work she did before she died, and I kept looking at them saying, like, they're so specific, and she said, yeah, but I made them all up. None of
Mm,
them, like, I have created them all, but they were characters in her mind, right? It was
right.
almost like she was
Right.
writing a story.
Mhm.
Do you find yourself looking at it that way, that you're
Oh
almost sort of
yeah.
creating
But-
characters?
Absolutely, but some of them.
Mm,
Sometimes I would get, mainly how I do my artwork and how I come up with an idea I will base it around the jewelry. I have a box full of jewelry. I have a box full of fabric. I have a box full of flowers. I have a box full of leaves. And whichever one that I'm drawn to, I will base my entire painting around a small jewel.
mm.
So, and then whatever flows with that flows with that. Okay, but if I find an image of a beautiful Black model on Instagram, of course I will see her features. I will borrow her features, and I have to put that out there. When I'm done with the painting, I will definitely send it to her so she can see what I did with her beautiful features.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would just base everything around whatever material I am using at that time. Yeah, so I have to look at whatever jewel I choose to use, and I take it from there. Yeah.
So you're sort of working from the outside in on these
The
characters.
outside,
Yeah.
yeah, great way to put it, from the outside in. I don't know why my mind worked that way, but that's just how it is.
Well, it works. I don't know that you should question it that much. What works works.
Only time I question it if when somebody asks me, and then I know a lot of artists, they don't do it that way.
Yeah.
They have to sketch out the image or paint the image, and then, especially mixed media artists, they have to sketch and draw out whatever it is, the focal point, and then grab whatever to add to that piece. But I have to grab the jewels or the flowers or the fabric first. Yeah.
Well, you describe yourself as a self-taught artist.
Mhm.
So I'm sure you were probably doing this in grade school and high school, but so did you go to school after high school at all?
Okay, so I'm originally from Chicago.
Okay.
Um, I was born in Mississippi, raised in Chicago, and I came here in Louisville. I've been here for like 13, almost 14 years. And when I was in high school in Chicago, yeah, we had our little art class or whatever, and that's where I felt most comfortable. I excelled in art class, but I didn't go to school after that for art. It was always been one of my passions and one of my dreams to be an art teacher. I always wanted to do that.
Mhm.
And but it just never went down that route for me. And I'll say, maybe I had my daughter at 23. She's 19 years old right now. And I just drowned myself into being a mother. And
Mhm.
I didn't want to do anything else outside of that. And then after her, of course, I'm a mother of four. I have four kids total. And I still wanted to do the whole go to school to be a teacher and everything like that, but I couldn't afford that. I couldn't afford it. So I stumbled upon a video on YouTube about probably 7 years ago. And then I said to myself, Sheila, I really think that you can do this on your own. I think that you can. And yeah, I've been drawing for over 20 years, but painting has been something that I picked up about 6 years ago. So as far as learning about different brushes and paint mediums and canvases and all of that, I learned on my own. I got books from the library, YouTube, and I asked a lot of other artists. And I taught myself, and I've been going since then. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I am not where I want to be, but I'm getting there.
Well, I always say, if an artist stops learning, they're dead. That's just it's a continual journey. And I don't mean to sound at all judgmental. I'm just always curious about, so, because you were talking about how some artists approach things when you were talking about, and I think, yeah, that's kind of the academic way that they've been taught to do it. And so when somebody hasn't gone through art school but has become an accomplished artist, I wonder, like, that's a different sort of process. You've outlined some of it here, but it's like,
I
do
never thought about it that way, but it makes sense.
it's like you've gotten to your place, but not through that way. And again, it's a different road for everybody. Nobody has to have the same road. Some people spend some time in school and leave. Some people go through, spend spend years and years in school. I loved it in school. It was a lot of fun just to be in a place with a bunch of art students, and
I know it's a dream. It's a dream. I know.
yeah, but those are just all different paths that
Mhm.
that we're going to go. But I
Yeah.
guess so what happens though, I guess, in school is like the value of it is that you get pushed or challenged. So do you have to did you have to push or challenge yourself, or how did you find, or did you find like other people, other artists that you could connect with that were maybe on a similar sort of journey? Like, how do you push and challenge yourself?
Like I said, when I moved to Louisville 13 years ago, yeah, I painted. No, I didn't paint. I draw and everything like that. 6 years ago is when I started painting, and I was a closet artist for a long time. I would paint and I would just leave it to the side. I did not post it on social media. I showed no one. My children never even saw the art. I just paint and put it away. Paint, put it away. I smile at it, so happy, proud of myself, put it away. But then I say, like 6 years ago, I decided to a sketch that I did. I posted on Facebook and I got so much feedback. So many people didn't know that I can draw. So many people didn't know that I could paint. They didn't know any of that. And then that's when the art community doors opened up for me. So right now I have so many friends that's within the art community here in Louisville, so supportive, that helps me and help me in every way possible. And yeah, we feed off each other, we vibe off each other. So yeah.
It's so funny when you say a closet artist, as if you were kind of hiding. But I guess maybe
I was, I was
all
hiding.
artists are closet artists until they show something, right? Until that first time. Um, when you talk about like, so how did you? So was it social media that connected you to other artists once you posted that thing? Did you start to meet other painters?
Yeah, I would say that, and I went to a lot of art events.
Hmm.
I did that, and I kind of stood in the background just looking like, oh my God, one day, I'll be a vendor at one of these events. That's where my mind was at the time. And I became friends with a couple of the artists where they will host these events. I'll follow them on social media, or I would after the first time that I post a drawing that I did, they gave me a lot of confidence and boost me up. I was able to stand up straight and just happy that people were, was commenting on my artwork, and it gave me enough courage to actually reach out behind the scenes, still not up front, reach behind the scenes to a lot of the artists, and I would show them my work. And then just to hear them compliment me and to tell me, oh my God, like, what are you doing with your work? What are you doing? Would you like to be in the show? And the first time, what I forget his name was Chip Calloway. Chip Calloway was the local artist. I'm sure you know him. He was the one that took a chance on me. He took a chance on me, and he used to preach to me all the time, stop being afraid. What are you doing? And yeah, he pushed me, and I was one of his shows was the very, very first show that I was in. And Yeah, and it warmed my heart, and I show him appreciation every time I see him because he pushed me, gave me so much advice, and still to this day, he gives me advice, and I listen to him. I listen to everything he has to say to me. I do, I
He,
do.
he'd be glad to hear that. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
do know. I do know Chip. So, look, how many pieces are in this show right now?
it is. To be honest with you, hold on. I listen to me. I took 24 pieces there. Okay,
Uh-huh.
24. It was a lot. And I told Mo, I said, you know what? Pick which one you want to be in the show. And we narrowed it down to me taking at least 6 of them away and the rest stayed. I don't know exactly how many. I
Okay.
brought so many. I brought so many. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. Well, but so where I'm getting at is so how much time is behind that work? Like, how long did it take you to make that many pieces?
Okay, some of the pieces I've already painted and had in my studio, which where I am right now.
Mhm.
And after I talked to Mo, I created maybe 4 new ones. Um, I would say, do you want a number of all of them,
No, no,
or
I'm just trying to get an idea of like, because what I'm interested in is your practice. Like, how long does it take you to complete a painting? And like, do you paint every day?
I wish I could paint every day.
Not every day, obviously. You have a family, but you.
Yeah, I try to paint every day, and my job, I'm a full-time welder, and I work anywhere between 9 to 10 hours a day. And I try to, come to the studio to paint a little bit, but then it will cut into time for me being with the kids and helping with homework and cooking dinner and everything like that. So I try to paint every day, but no, I can't. I would try to paint. I feel like I'm a welder through Monday through Friday, and the weekends I'm an artist. I'm a painter. So, and I try to fit it in.
Well, so it's interesting. You're a welder. Have you done three-dimensional work, or are you strictly a painter?
My whole thing with the whole welding, I have, to answer your question, I have. My husband, he loves drones. He does drone photography
Uh-huh.
on the side. And with some scrap metal at work, I made him a drone out of metal. It wasn't the best, but he was so happy about it, and I was happy and proud about it. But because I want to start doing metal art sculptures. Yeah, so I wanted to um do art full time. I want to, but
Mm.
being a mother and having bills to pay, I try to incorporate the two where I can still work with my hands, I can still be creative, and I can still make a living for my family.
Mm.
And then yeah, and I can buy metal off of my job, and I can make metal art if I want to.
Is your workplace supportive of you as an artist, or is that a whole separate sort of
They
thing?
no, no, they're okay. If I give them the heads up, mainly in the summer months, if I
Mm.
give them the heads up and let them know, like, hey, I have a show coming up, or I'm a vendor somewhere, I just have to show them proof that that's what I'm doing, and then yeah, they'll let me off. They'll let me off.
Well, that's good. That's good to see. I know a guy who's a lawyer, and he asked for a few weeks off. He asked for 2 weeks off to paint, and the boss called him and said, "So you need to come back in." He goes, "Well, you told me I had 2 weeks." He said, "Yeah, but it's been a month."
Ooh,
So but it's like it's a tricky business. But there is there has been sort of a movement in the last several years of the value of artists in the workplace, even if it's not an artistic workplace. And
absolutely.
so it's nice to know that people do sort of to understand that value. Um,
Right. Well, my job would not be that generous to let me off for 2 weeks. A Saturday, yeah, because that's when I do most of my overtime on Saturdays and sometimes Sundays, and that's when I do a lot of vending in the summer months on the weekends. But they would be generous enough to let me off on the weekends, but not 2 weeks. I wish.
Now, your work also reminds me. I bet you know Sandra Charles.
Yes, I do.
Particularly the when you
Yeah.
know the when she was doing the Queens series. It
Yes.
seems like there's sort of a relationship in the in not copying, but just like sort of a in some ways a sort of a similar approach.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're doing Queens, but that's sort of your whole framework of elegance and glamour sort of does sort of push into that sort of heightened, right? It's a very heightened image.
Absolutely. And I met Sandra last year at the Roots, African American Museum Roots.
Hmm.
We were myself and a few other of my art friends. We had a show at Roots, and then I saw her work on the third floor of Roots, but I never knew who she was. I never saw her face. So when we had that event, I believe on the second floor at Roots, she came in at this time not knowing who she is. Now, a week before, I saw her work on floor up, and I was just speechless. I stood there with my husband. I could not take my eyes off of her work. It
Hmm.
was just my heart, a tear fell down my eye when I saw her work because it was absolutely beautiful. And I told myself, like, I need to get to this point as far as how neat and just beautiful her work was. So fast forward to that event, we had several people coming in, talking, critiquing us on our artwork. And this one particular little short lady, little curly hair, come talking to me about my artwork. And she liked, well, you can't see it right now, but it's a self portrait of myself right here that she absolutely loved. And she just was telling me how much she loved it. And she critiqued me on a few other pieces. And because I'm still an artist that's learning, I'm willing to take it all in and hear what she's saying. And when she was done, she reached in her purse and she handed me her card. And when I looked at her card had the painting that's upstairs. I looked at her, looked at the card like, did you do this? And she said, yeah, I'm Sandra Traub. Tears just flowed down my face. She did not know what to do. She reached in her purse looking for a tissue. Like, did I do something wrong? Are you okay? Are you okay? And I had to let her know like how much her art moved me. It moved me. And I feel like I'm getting emotional right now just talking about it. But she's amazing. She's amazing.
Wow, and she's so, like you say, she's this small person, and she's very unassuming, very, very, very sweet. But yeah, it's like it's like she puts all the power into the paintings.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
Well, and that's why I wanted what I was sort of getting to with that was, when again, I think when we talk about being a self-taught artist, is one of the most crucial things might be what are the influences, like what are the artists that inspired you to do what you do, whether they were people you met in town or whether they're people you were seeing out in the world or in history. Like, what are your key influences, do you think?
My key influence, I would say, would be this piece that I have right here, which is a self portrait of myself. I would say that it started with that. Um, I don't know how far to go with this, but
Well, I mean, I guess I was wondering, like, were there other art? What are the artists did you look at when you were starting?
well, the artists that I looked at when I started painting.
Sure.
Painting was artists like here in Louisville.
Hmm.
It's the artist here in Louisville. My friend Christy Berry, she's an amazing artist. My very close friend, Krista Harris, she's amazing female artist. And then they paint women. And that's what I wouldn't say that I copied them or anything. It was more of an inspiration behind it as far as how they flow with their art and painting women. And with me, like I said, I've always wanted to be an artist that paint women, dark skinned women, and I just wanted to add that glam to it, you
Hmm.
know basically. Yeah.
Well, and you touched on, you said in the beginning, and it's in your, I think it was in the intro too.
Hmm.
This emphasis on dark skinned women, and like, that's a very, I don't know, as like white guy of a certain age, if if I have sort of the right to even inquire about that, but you know what I mean? It's like that there, I know that there is sometimes controversy about skin
Oh
color,
yeah,
even within
yeah.
the communities of color.
Hmm.
And uh, so talk a little bit about how, like, how, besides the fact that you're talking about yourself and your own identity, which we touched on
Okay.
earlier, what talk about the importance of that, why that's so important beyond even just your identity.
It is important. Even I'll start at the beginning, like with a young girl. It's important for her to accept her complexion, to accept her race, to accept everything about her, to her lips, her nose, and her her hair texture, the coiliness of her hair texture. It's important that it starts all the way from a little girl, and it will help throughout, her adult years. And just growing up, and it's 10 of us. My mom had 4 boys and 6 girls. So yeah, it's a lot of us. And I was the darkest of my siblings. My mom is the oldest girl of 13, and she was the darkest of her siblings. Even though her sisters were dark skinned, just hearing stories that she told me about her growing up in the South. And mind you, I moved from Mississippi to Chicago when I was probably 4 or 5 years old. And the stories that she told me over the years about things that she went through as a young girl growing up in Mississippi mirrored the exact same things that I would go through in Chicago, you know, growing up in the 80s and the 90s. And how I would get made fun of because of my complexion. And not only just me, it was, other dark skinned girls in the Black girls, period. But the dark skinned girls got it worse, you know. So just growing up seeing that, it did something to me, and it carried on with me as an adult woman. But I can handle it better now. I know how to cope with it, and I cope with it through my art. I cope with it through my art. And then I have 2 daughters and I have 2 sons. And and I teach my daughters how to, love and appreciate the skin that they're in. And regardless of how anybody else feel about it, this is who you are. And you wear it with pride. Your hair, your everything about you, you wear it with pride.
All right.
Yeah.
That's not, I mean, I don't know how anybody could argue with what you're saying. Like, and yeah, empowerment and acceptance.
Yeah.
So, Sheila, what's next for you? Do you have another show lined up? You just got to get back to work on in the studio again? What's coming up?
Um, well, tomorrow I get to drop my art off. I have 3 pieces that will be showcased at the City Hall. I was one of the 6 artists that was picked to showcase 3 pieces at the City Hall. So I'll be dropping that off tomorrow. So it will be there through the entire year of 2022.
Right.
Um, any other shows coming up? No, not right now. Not that I can think of right now. No, I don't have any shows or anything coming up.
Well, then let me ask you too. Then because you referenced earlier how you express yourself sometimes through fashion. I mean, are there other things besides the painting? Do you do fashion design? Do you do jewelry design? Are there any other aspects of your work that we haven't talked about?
I can sew. I can sew. I mean, I sew up things for my kids. I actually, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I can make jewelry. I can sew. My mom shown me and my sisters how to sew since we were little girls, like 5, 6 years old. But that was something that I never pushed out for the world to know.
Hmm.
But I can sew, I can make jewelry, I can do hair, I can do makeup, I can do all of that stuff. But my passion is right here with the art right now, because I barely have time to do that. And I and trying to pull something else in on top of that, The only time I do pull in the sewing and making the earrings and the makeup is within that canvas. And then I can incorporate everything within that canvas. So I pull in all of my talents on that one canvas. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think, except for wealthy people, moms have to sew.
Oh,
My
absolutely.
mom sewed, and but I'm ashamed to say I can't sew a button, and I feel bad. I feel like, how did I not ever learn how to do that? How did I
My,
not?
my husband don't either. A lot of men don't know how to.
Yeah, and we should be ashamed.
Yeah, very ashamed, very ashamed.
I can cook, but I can't sew a button on a shirt. I'm embarrassed to say that, but it's the
Yeah.
truth. So that's what we're about. Um, well, Sheila Fox, it's been such a pleasure to talk to you. I'll just remind all the listeners again that A Journey of Elegance, her show, is at Revelry Gallery. It was scheduled to open February 3rd, but if you thought you missed the opening, you're wrong, because it
Yeah.
got rescheduled for February 11th from 6 to 9 p.m. And you can see how much fun she is to talk to. So that's a great opportunity for you to meet her in person. And the show will run at Revelry through March the 6th. So Sheila Fox, thank you
Yes.
so much. Oh, you're the Godiva goddess. How long did you how I forgot to ask you that. How long have you been Godiva goddess? How did that name come about?
Godiva guys, I've been that for 6 years. I've been
Did you
Godiva for 6 years. For six
that
years.
was an intentional
And
sort of artist
the re-
name?
I'm
That was
sorry.
an intentional sort of artist's name?
Yeah, that's my artist name. And the reason I chose Godiva, because we know chocolate is
Mhm.
Godiva, and I'm chocolate, and I represent myself as a goddess, and that's who I am. So Godiva goddess.
Man, I love chocolate, so I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Sheila.
Thank you. Thank you. You have a good one.
You too.